Hello, I'm getting ready to load the Cone '05 glaze kiln. I just have two trays here of work, so I'm going to show you the work. I have this one taller piece. This is my tallest piece, and I'm going to use my ruler here. It's about 11 inches high, so I'm just going to really need to plan for that one as I load the kiln. I'm going to leave some space on the top for that and do some creative stacking with the shelves. I have this other tall piece, this owl that can go next to that, but it's still going to be needing to fill up the rest of the space with some of the smaller stuff. This is my little kiln, and it's an old school Vulcan. You can see the ceramic emblem right here, which is a real nice treasure to have. So this kiln is from the early 70s. It was donated here to Fairmount Center for the Arts. And all these switches have been rewired to the controller box. We're going to take a look in here and see I have the parameter. This is going to tell the kiln controller box when to turn this up while I'm away. And because of my taller piece, I just want to go ahead and get an idea of what kind of size I have in here. So I put this stilt on the bottom. I'm going to use my ruler. And if I lift this up a little to account for a shelf being in there, I can definitely have my 11 inches. So this is going to be my first shelf size. I'm going to go in on a triad. A little pitcher. This one, there's a this is a bright green is a clear glaze that's on there, and I know that there's a very nice design painted underneath this, so when we unload this, we're going to be very surprised. Again, the clear. I don't remember what's underneath this one. I think another design, so there's two of those. There's a bird whistle. This one we're refiring with a little bit of clear on it. The first time we fired it just wasn't shiny enough, so we're going to put that in there and get a little shinier. Nice carved signature down there. There's a box. There's a look at the bottom layer. I have my 3 stilts set up. I'm going to set a octagon shaped shelf on there and do the next layer. So I'm going to go ahead and put this tall one in there. I'm going to put it right next to the parameter, just to, because I know I don't want to try to stack shelves up around that. It'll be a little easier to just put this there. And I'm going to start to put cut shelves on the sides here. This one can be a good fit to go right there, and then I can get a second layer on this side. And this is a broken shelf, so saving the broken shelves are very useful. They can fit into places. Usually I want the stilts stacked up right over top each other, so I am going to get it on this side and this side, but I'm going to have to introduce a new one on this side, which is okay for this. Doesn't have a lot of weight. So those can go underneath the shelf. A couple little, I don't know what these are, little tiles. And we also have a miniature mug. A little bit of a tricky fit just because of the shape of this, but that's okay. We have it in there. And I'm going to nudge this over, and I have a nice space right here for the owl. Oh, now the owl is a nice combination of underglaze. Some of it has been fired in once to stabilize it, and then layers have been added on to get this nice varied effect. And we have a little bit of clear down here and a little bit of clear on the eyes, so that'll give a good contrast. And the last two pieces that can go right on top of this shelf. So I still have quite a bit of open space. I'm going to put another set of stilts and find another small shelf to put on top to bring the level of the kiln up. I do want to try to fill the kiln as much as possible. So we do want that mass in there so we can get the heat. This other piece of broken shelf is a good candidate. It can fit right in there. So this is a fairly open kiln. It's not very compact. I don't have all these spaces filled as much as I would like to. I just don't really have the work to fill this kiln. It's also just not as imperative to pack this cone 05 kiln as much because it's only going to go to about 1900 degrees versus the cone 5, which is trying to go to like 2160. And it's harder to go over the 2000 degrees, so more work would help the radiant heat that would be in there. So this one is going to be fine, a little bit more open. I'm just going to also show you, I'm going to check this tall pieces here, and I know it's very close. And it's right up here to the top, but if I put my ruler here and I look down, I have just about a half a finger between there, just to confirm that I know that I had enough space for that to be there. The lid for this kiln is a separate piece. I lift it off and set it aside while I'm loading, so I'm going to bring that over and set it on top of here. These blocks set on top, and if I wanted to vent this kiln, I would leave it open a little bit right here so it could vent out. I'm going to go ahead and cover it up all the way and just close this kiln up. It doesn't need to vent as much. A bisque, I would definitely want to leave it open for a while, but this low fire glaze, I know everything's dry, it's been sitting here waiting, it can go ahead and fire through. This kiln also has two peep holes. And I would be closing these up with a plug, but there's some old plugs in here that are broken off, so it's kind of like permanently plugged up. I think maybe someday I would go in there and try to get these out, but I'd rather not compromise the bricks on the inside of this, because it's okay. Here's my auto fire controller box. I'm going to set this to fire the kiln while I'm away. I have a cone 05, enter, speed, fast. So I'm going to set this one to fast. I just know that this kiln takes a little longer. The pre-program is a little slower than my other one. My other one I set it at medium, and this one, like this one on the fast, is equal to the other one on the medium. I'm going to do an hour preheat just because I have the luxury on this box, and I have that one piece in there with all that intricate cutout, and it just would be really good to get that one heated through before it starts to get hot. And I have my 10-minute hold to allow the glazes to soak through at the end. No cool cycle. And it's idle right now at 60 degrees, so I can go ahead and start. Okay, so cone 05 glaze is loaded and it's starting to fire. You can hear the controller box turning that on and off, pulsating a little bit of heat in there. So the last thing I'm going to do is turn on my fan and let that vent. It's going to take about 7 hours to fire this kiln, and it'll take about a day and a half for it to cool. See you then. You're in charge, kiln gods.